What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy CamATL, and welcome back to another NBA DFS video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment anything in the comment section and enter your name to the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel. GreenlightDFS.com, baby. You already know I got the Greenlight Optimizer up on the screen for you. This thing can throw together 150 lineups for you in a jiffy. Um, we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it, man. I got my projections ready to go. Excited for this slate, man. We got a little tiny little 5 game slate, not a ton of value. Lately one of the issues with DFS has been, and it just kind of clicked in my head recently, that we've had a lot of big time people out. So we've had a ton of such obvious value that it's making everyone's versions very, very, very similar, and it's not very spread out. You know what I'm saying? So I've had an epiphany, and I am making a little bit of adjustment, and I'm going for takedown mode. Okay, takedown mode has officially been initiated as of this morning. I woke up saying, you know what, man, we're coming near the end of NBA season. We've had such obvious value, and everybody's landing on the same shit because of how obvious and amazing the value has been, that it's time to just initiate takedown mode. Yes, I'm still worried about safety. I'm still trying to get people into that cash, but I'm more focused on takedown upside than I usually am. In this situation, just because of how things have been, and sometimes you have to make that small adjustment with how you're building. Like, a lot of times building that safe way for cash games is the best way to go, but at the same time you kind of want to get different where you can on some of the, get the value you're supposed to get, but get different where you can elsewhere. And maybe go for a lower owned version that's just as good or maybe even better, to kind of get yourself different here. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. With that in mind, with how the slates have been, let's get straight into it and let's talk about what we're thinking so far for this slate today. So, first and foremost, the first thing I notice is Sacramento Brooklyn game looks to be the fantasy friendliest situation here. You've got a close 2 point spread, two teams who don't play a ton of defense, solid total. So I'm liking both sides of Sacramento and Brooklyn today, in this one. I also like some Toronto that pops for me today. Um, Obviously, Denver is going to spank Detroit. At least they should. Milwaukee should spank the Pacers. So we've got some blowout spots with some studs like Jokic, like Giannis, who could easily break the slate if the game happens to stay close. So you got to consider that as well. I do have Giannis ahead of Jokic, but very slightly. Point per salary, they're at the same level. As you can see, I have Sabonis right there, slightly above the other two spend ups in that close 2 point spread game, which makes a ton of sense because you're getting an absolute stud in what should be a competitive matchup, between these two teams. Whereas Giannis could be a blowout, Jokic could be a blowout, and you're dealing with some issues. Orlando Phoenix, another blowout possible situation. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into it. So first and foremost, at point guard, like I said, I want some exposure to this game. So Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be the guy I go with. Spencer Dinwiddie is the greatest player in NBA history. At least the last 3 games, he's been fantastic. At 7-9, he's a fantastic spot here against Sacramento in what should be the best game of the day, honestly, when it comes to how competitive it'll be. The fantasy points put up, it's just a fantastic spot here. So really, really love the spot for Spencer Dinwiddie here in this one. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next Brooklyn play. The next Brooklyn play is Nick Claxton. I'm getting a couple Brooklyn in here for sure, as well as my value of Curry because there's not a ton of value today, and I feel like Curry could be interesting here in a matchup against Sacramento in a close game. Seth Curry is in a great spot, only 3-3, and this is a slate where we have no value as of right now. Okay, there's a lot of questionable we're still watching, obviously, and value could open up, but as of right now, we don't have a lot of value. So it's gonna be coming down to like how you want to build based on it. Now, if we don't get much more value, the way to go might be going mid range all through. If we don't have any value, and that might be the low owned strategy I end up rocking with tonight. If we don't have any sexy value that makes any sense. At the end of the day, obviously you want to try to get starter value in that 3K range if you can for the best value opportunities. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to take what the slate gives you and build from there. So far, I'm going to go with Seth Curry as a viable value on a slate that doesn't have a ton of it. Like if you sort point per salary, yeah, Seth Curry's at the top of the list. There's not a ton of options here. You've got Jeff Green in what could be a blowout against Detroit, who's interesting at 3-1. But Seth Curry, I mean, look, you see how that value is. Seth Curry and Jeff Green. Normally, when you come to all and you sort point per salary, we've got like a whole plethora of value. That's how it's been lately. In this slate, we're not having it so far. Now, as the day goes on, if Halliburton's out and all these other guys, value is going to pop in, and it's going to be much easier there to find the value. And what you're going to want to do is take the big spends and try to get different where you can there, but grab the value that you absolutely value is the most important part. Okay, playing with the studs is something you can do to be different, but grabbing the right value is very, very, very important. Especially if they're going to 10x 3K, you're going to need that. So, anyways, so Seth Curry is a good value that I like on a slate that's very thin for value. Pascal Siakam sticks out to me as an option that I really, really like here as well. It's just a good spot here for Toronto. Toronto's one of the higher total teams of the slate, going against a bad OKC team. And at the end of the day, at 8-4, I think Siakam, even if a blowout does occur, I think Siakam can hit that 45 range as I have him projected, and he's only 8-4. It's not like he's 9K and projected for 5X. Like, this is a great spot for him at 8-4. So I really like this spot against a weak OKC squad down low, for sure. Next play that I'm going to go, man, I'm debating here. I kind of need a mid-range because we only have 59.50 remaining. So I kind of got to be smart with this last position. I do like Harrison Barnes because he gives you a 5-1 play in that good game as well. He's somebody that you could definitely consider. Gary Trent's a guy that I've looked at a few times, but man, he's just so up and down. You just never really know. Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy who's let me down damn near every day, it feels like. So it's a tough decision on this last spot, man. It really, really is. I'm not going to go another Brooklyn because I already have three Brooklyns. I think that I'm going to go Harrison Barnes to run back to Brooklyn in this high five. It gives me some Sacramento run back without having to spend that elite money for Fox or that elite money for Sabonis. Harrison Barnes feels good at that 5-1 range to at least get you 5x minimum. And in a slate like this, on a 5-game slate like this with no value, that's probably all you're going to need. So this is the run back I like, especially in this type of construction that we've got started here with Dinwiddie, Seth Curry, and Nick Claxton. I like running it back with Harrison Barnes on the other side of that game. It's a fantastic spot for him. So, and that still leaves us over 6,000. You guys know how I like to do the videos. I like to make sure that I leave plenty of money so that you guys can still be able to maneuver things. Obviously, you don't want to lock these guys in, do no more research, plug in three more guys, and hope for the best. Okay, you need to really lock in, which is what we do at greenlightdfs.com. I'll be studying the slate all day, posting about 10 to 15 minutes before the slate, and then I will continue to keep it optimal as information comes after lock. Okay, so I'll continue trying to keep us at the top of our game as the night goes on. So thank you guys for joining me as always. Let's get this money tonight. Greenlightdfs.com, join the squad. Let's get it. We've got a final a couple weeks before baseball starts, and we had the biggest season of baseball that we've ever had in my life last season. Made a shit ton of money last season on MLB. We absolutely dominated baseball last year, like more than we've ever done. So I'm excited to get right back on that and have another big baseball year. The early bird MLB season special is at Greenlight DFS right now, so you can get the best value you possibly can by going and grabbing the early bird season special for MLB right now at greenlightdfs.com. Thank you guys for joining me as always, and I'm out. Peace.